Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again, and this is going to be a series called "Racism Against the Afro Myth and His Community" by the government, media, and platforms. All right. So basically, what we have here is the first one is the low-hanging fruit. We are going to deal with the media. And all of these entities have a symbiotic relationship. So I want you to understand that. The relationship is symbiotic. The government is working with the media and platforms, and basically, this is simply because that in the United States, capitalism is based on racism and slavery. And I keep telling you that the objective of capitalism is to get as much work out of somebody while paying them the least amount of money that you can. All right. Now, in order to make people that you are going to get that will be, let's say, unwise enough to carry on in a not, let's say, hourly wage type job instead of getting a skill or a trade. All right, you have to birth them and have them brainwashed into thinking that they need to stay inside a particular box. That would be the hood, where you elevate the hood and being from the hood over just anything else that would be good or beneficial to you. This is the problem that is going on with the so-called Afro community. Well, it's not a problem with the Afro community, it's a problem with the black community. See, our own females have convinced us that we should be slaves to the system since she's getting paid by the system through subpar housing, welfare, child support extortion, and all the rest of that. All right. But what we see coming up right now is another form of slavery, and it's going to be in the media. All right. And so we're going to demonstrate how the media and the images that you see before you is poison to the Afro people, and straight up poison. All right, so before we get started, let me greet everybody. Havorten hardu good dog. All the way to the bang. Vasas los bonjour mes amis. Kerabawani konnichiwa. Ni hao ni ama sani bonani. Jumbo havaragani. Assalamu alaikum and shalom. Kamusta ka? Kamusta po kayo? Talafa lava soy fua. All right, so I got one of these things that advocated for the Afro people. Those are the pictures you see here. And you got the other thing that has agreed to destroy the Afro people. The question is, which one do you think is which? Pay attention. Who is who? And these images you got up here, except the talking one, which is me, which people made a contract to destroy the Afro image by way of just destroying the children? And which one of these images stuck up for the Afro musicians and community in order to be able to, get their stuff on air? Think about this. The next time you simps run and say that people who do stand for us don't. Think about this when we talk about that, the media, the Caucasian system is racist. But remember in other videos what I said about the Quakers. And the strange irony is that when you go and do research, a lot of the British had a lot to do with whether old school Afro musicians became famous or not. They opened up the doorways to certain things. All right? So let's break that down for a minute. All right, so as I broke down in another video on my live stream, that you have a lot of turmoil that's going on politically. All right? And remember, I said this is in platforms, in the political arena, in the media. And this one is going to concentrate on the media. But one of the things that I wanted to show you is that all of this and the platforms and all that is working in concert to utterly destroy Afro's people, especially when we talk about getting that experimental Fauci juice. All right, that a lot of places where we are being destabilized. Now, the reason why this is important, because one of the things that really brought us together as a people on one accord in the 60s was music. Music galvanized people. People start writing protest songs. People start writing think songs. All right, and basically, say it now, I'm black and I'm proud. Okay, I am everyday people. Y'all remember? Everyday people. Different strokes for different folks. Think about that. We don't have anything like that. We don't have message songs. What we do have right now in the music industry is a bunch of clowns and buffoons that are put there primarily as a distraction, so that while all this is going on behind us, there is no musician, rapper, or anybody to get down and talk about what's going on. There isn't no 911 is a joke, because 911 was a joke. All right, there isn't no fight the power. All right, fight the powers that be. There is no more of that. They got rid of it when the Caucasians that own all of our media bought us out and then put clowns and buffoonery on to distract us from this. All right, I want y'all to understand. Now, what y'all are looking at on the right is all the people that own How We See Anything. And let's not forget about Essence and all of that. All right, we do not own Essence or the rest of it. Now, remember, I said I put up the picture of the BAW, you know, that wrote a song that are always marching for us only after we're dead. Understand this. Understand this. These are people, the BW, the American BW, the BAW, who march for us after we're dead. And while marching for us after we're dead, they and their organizations that they march for on behalf of make a lot of money, to the point where Black Lives Matter leaders are running around buying up houses and stuff with the millions they made off the backs of dead Afro men. All right? And so, is that real support? If the only time you march for us when we're dead, but the whole time we're alive, you're the worst thing that ever happened to us. We get nothing but fights with you. All right? And then we have the people we're supposed to hate. White people. Yeah, that's a white man. I want you to pay attention to what this white man did on white media, which is the problem. All right? So understand this. White media is the problem. It is racist. But who is standing up to them on our behalf? Where, well, this is who it was in the past. So pay attention to this. All right? This man here is David Bowie. He's British. Oh, like the other people that stood up and made sure that, you weren't going to do that racist stuff to Afro people, the Beatles.
Those punishing questions you were going to ask me.
Well, yeah, do you have the time?
We've got nothing but.
We have plenty of time.
I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to you guys. I'd like to ask you something. I mean, you know, all right. It occurred to me, having watched MTV over the last few months, that it's a solid enterprise, and it's got a lot going for it. I'm just floored by the fact that there's so few black artists featured on it. Why is that?
I think that we're.
All right, so he goes in automatically. They weren't prepared for this. He asked them at the beginning of their interview with him if he could ask them these questions. He told them that these would be heated questions. They weren't expecting this, though.
We're trying to move in that direction. We want to play artists that seem to be doing music that fits into what we want to play for MTV. The company is thinking in terms of narrow casting.
That's evident. It's evident in the fact that the only few black artists that one does see are on about 2:30 in the morning or to around 6. Very few are featured predominantly during the day.
No, that's a...
I'll say that over the last couple of weeks these things have been changing, but it's a slow process.
I know, it's funny, I think people have different perceptions. When you wind up watching, let's say you watch an hour or 2 or even 3 a day, people somehow come away with different ideas about what we are doing. We don't have any kind of day parting for anything, let alone a black artist day parted out of what would be, quote, prime time. We don't have.
So understand how racists think, right? They have a whole bunch of reasons for not allowing anything to that's not our type, to all kinds of other things. But watch, these British are sharp with it, but watch.
I have that.
Because one sees a lot there's one black station on television that I keep picking up. I'm not sure which station it's on, but there seem to be a lot of black artists making very good videos that I'm surprised aren't used on MTV.
Well, of course, also we have to try and do what we think not only New York and Los Angeles will appreciate, but also Poughkeepsie or Midwest. Pick some town in the Midwest that will be scared to death by Prince, which we're playing, or a string of other black faces.
That's very interesting. Isn't that interesting?
You know, we have to play the music that we think an entire country is going to like, and certainly we're a rock and roll.
And when they say entire country, they mean everybody but Afro people. All right. Now, I kept saying that these people do not consider Afro people a part of the country. All right, I want y'all to pay attention to it. He said music that the entire country was going to like, but he wasn't considering the entire country because in his statement, he eliminated the Afro people and the type of music they would like. Think about that.
Station. The question would be asked, well, should, since we're in New York, should PLJ play, the Isley Brothers? Well, you and I might say, yeah, because we have grown up in an era when the Isley Brothers mean something to me, and so do the Spinners, even way after the Isley Brothers. But what does it mean to a 17-year-old? Well, if you talk on the phones to these guys like I did when I was in radio, it's scary.
Well, I'll tell you what it means. I'll tell you what maybe the Isley Brothers or Marvin Gaye means to a black 17-year-old. And surely he's part of America as well.
No question, no question. And that's why we're seeing those things.
Do you not find that it's a frightening predicament to be in?
Yeah, but less so here than in radio.
And is it not, well, no, don't say, well, it's not me, it's them. Is it,
no,
is it
Let me just add this to it. Luther Vandross, or Vandross, helped him with his background singers. Nile Rodgers wrote 2 of his most famous songs. Think about that.
Oh, is it not possible that it should be a conviction of the station and of other radio stations, to be fair? It does seem to be rampant through American media. Should it not be a challenge to try and make the media far more integrated in music, especially of anything in musical terms?
Absolutely, I think it's happening because white music and white musicians are now starting to play more than ever more than they have lately, let's say in the last 10 years,
Yeah.
what black artists have been into. And now, hopefully, the lines are going to start to blur. And when we play a band like ABC,
Yeah.
well, there's white and black kids who are enjoying it, and all of a sudden, well, it's a little bit easier for a white kid to understand it. The fact is, quite frankly, I could even point you towards a letter in the new issue of The Record,
Yeah.
the magazine The Record, responding to an article by Dave Marsh that
I want y'all to keep this in mind too, that MTV at the time was playing any obscure band, and a person that worked for them wrote also that the only reason black people made it on the air who had videos at 1, 2, 3 in the morning was because MTV ran out of videos of Caucasian people. So I want y'all to understand that. I want y'all to understand that.
this kid just ranted about what he didn't want to see on MTV.
Well, that's his
And in no
problem.
uncertain terms, well, what I'm saying though is that there's, as you say, there's certainly a lot of black kids and white kids who may want to see black music. There's a ton of them who are, it's not like it was in '67 where you say, yeah, I'm not into that, you know, but you are, yeah. Now it's, you're into that? I don't like you. And that's scary, and we can't just turn around and go, well, look, this is the right way. We can only teach, I think, a little bit at a time.
Interesting. Okay, thank you very much.
Does that make sense? Valid point?
I understand your point of view.
Believe me, it's a tough
I know.
situation.
I just thought, because it's going to be sooner or later, it's just interesting, and I wanted to know what the response would be then.
There's never been any kind of
I tell you what's
corporate racist, like, we don't want to play black artists, period. We want to play rock and roll.
I just know that from...
Also, it's also where cable is. It's where the cable. None of the urban markets have been wired yet across suburban markets. So we had a choice between an R&B station or AOR station. We went with the AOR station. Hopefully, we'll have a R&B station.
It's foremost on my mind, of course, because of the guys, especially I've been working with recently, who are very hostile to the media. In no small way. I mean, they really think that it's a bad...
Notice how he sets them up for the kill too. And he's always polite. That's that British wit.
deal at the moment. And it hasn't been like this in years. But on the other hand, I feel positive about it because I see another swing happening. There is a new thing happening.
Right, I mean, I'm sure you can understand that if you make a left-hand turn and say, well, we've been playing rock and roll, but now we're going to play the Commodores, and we're going to play all these bands that black radio, let's say, is playing.
But let's face it, somebody laid down the ground rules in the beginning.
All right, so now, there you have it. All right, he set them up and he took them down, but he was not done for them. I'm telling you, people like Sting and the Beatles had done more for Afro music getting into Caucasian communities than any white person in the United States, and the BWs have done more to destroy that by who they were raising and their image. They have done more to destroy Afro music than anyone. See how that has flipped? Okay, so let's really get down to this, all right? MTV had set up a lot of catch-22s. This was one, right? When they responded to charges of racism, which MTV was a very racist organization, all right, and they still are. Understand this. If you look at the image of Afro people that it puts up now, and they understand that the image that they're using, all right, they only have one type, one artist, there isn't a slew of female rappers. Like when it was Queen Latifah, it was Moni Love, it was MC Light, it was JJ Fad, there was a whole bunch of female rappers, right? But then they said, like Highlander, there could be only one. think about that foolish mess. And then the image that they picked and the industry picked, the type of music that they picked was the most depraved, the most degenerative music that they could pay the sellouts to put up there. All right? Understand this catch-22. When MTV did respond to the charges of racism, Tenenbaum said that the company's reasoning was that black artists aren't really making a lot of videos. And this was not true of artists like Rick James, who was making a lot of videos. So they were lying about that, which was kind of true because completely beside the point. Record companies weren't giving the budgets to black artists to make videos because they knew MTV wouldn't play those videos. Catch-22. The record companies knew MTV was racist, but you got artists like Prince that decided, Rick James, which was big back in the day, who decided, no, I'm going to make some videos. All right? And so that rationale, you could have had real Rick James up there. He had a lot of videos. All right, but people knew what was going on. They were putting up obscure people that were Caucasian from anywhere in the world before they'll put up a person with brown skin. All right. Now, their thing with rock and roll, they didn't play just rock and roll. They played pop. The only kind of pop they played was white pop, though. And so David Bowie wasn't even finished with them. David Bowie went and called them out to their face and told them that they were just racist as hell. That's what David Bowie did. What the BWs do, they run around making songs like WAP, and then the people that own them, which if you saw who actually owns our media, the people that own them, those are the women that they're putting in the forefront. No class, no nothing. No class, just A. Y'all know what it is. All right? And it's worse than this. Wait till you see what I got coming up. All right? So, another thing that happened. All right? And this was a money thing. All right? Michael Jackson did the Billie Jean video. All right? Michael Jackson did the Billie Jean video, and MTV had to be threatened by an executive to put that video up. Period. They had to be threatened. And they were threatened that if they did not air Michael Jackson's Billie Jean videos, that CBS was going to pull every artist that they had from MTV. Being the biggest company at the time, that would have destroyed MTV. All right, and what happens is MTV, they go back and they say, oh, no, it really wasn't like that, right? But what happened is that Walter Yetnikoff, the president of CBS Records Group, reportedly had threatened to remove all CBS videos from MTV before the network agreed to air Billie Jean, right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people have the quote from this Walter Yetnikoff. All right, so MTV just went back to fell back on their lies. All right, and so Bowie, here's some, I just had to cut and paste this. Bowie wasn't done with him, right? In Soulvine, page A3, I found the racism extraordinarily blatant. Think about that. I found the racism extraordinarily blatant, said Bowie, when interviewed by MTV. Bowie really poured salt into the wound by cleverly turning the tables, where he became the interviewer and asked, why you opted for white music policy on your station? MTV replied, well, we get objection if we played black music. How lame, said Bowie as he thought to himself. And you could see that he was clearly thinking to himself. How can you sit here and say that? The answer was a good question. All right, and here's the quote by Yitnikov. Yitnikov declared that he would go public with MTV's initial reluctance to screen the promo. I said to MTV, I'm pulling everything we have off air, all our product. I'm not going to give you any more videos, and I'm going to go public and effing, woo, he was upset. Effing tell them about the fact that you don't want to play music by a black guy. See, a lot of people was calling MTV out about this stuff. And what do we have going on now? When you compare the two, we got a bunch of people a bunch of females that's very argumentative with dudes who pick mostly thugs and people coming out of prison where they have statistically made most of their babies from. 61% of those men, 61% of the men that have, well, in the Afro communities, more than 71% of the men who have multiple children from multiple babies' mamas are dudes that just came out of prison. While 52% of Afro men are just straight up running from the females, do not have any children from them at all. And the other 36% are married, which is more than the percentage of BWs who are married. All right, so you have a greater percentage of Afro men married than the BW, but they will tell you, hear them tell it that it's the Afro men that's afraid of marriage, which is not true. All right, and so basically we're looking at an adversary on every hand. Pay attention to that. Now, this is why I say the media is racist. Still, this is the only image outside of the booty women that you have that represents Afro music right now that's being promoted in the music media, music industry, in the video industry, in the magazines. This is all you get. You get the destroyed, argumentative BW that do not care about children or anything else. On top of that, you get the demonic images of used up dudes, used up little Afro boys whose soul has been sold out to promote all these images in prime time, on BET in prime time, before these children that are raised primarily by the BAW single mom. Understand this. This is what the BWs are teaching their daughters to be. This is how they destroyed their sons so that they could be used to destroy other children. All right? This is what it is. All right? Like I said, you had one group that represented us and one group that did not. And not only has this latter group not represented us, they decided that they would rather destroy us instead. Understand?